If you've ever thought you were going to get through the weekend without a major piece of news to react to on Monday, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another week. Happy Monday. Welcome back to live trading. We got a lot to cover today. Let's go.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Monday. I hope you're ready for another week of trading. We got big news over the weekend and we have a ton of earnings coming this week. Here to break it down for you all, my main man, 13. 13, how are you doing this morning and how was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was fun, but I am very tired. Very tired. I did not get much sleep. So, sorry if I sound a little loopy today, but it's the reason why. But let's see if we can trade this market. Looks like there are going to be some great setups here for us. I have a few movers on the list here. Let's cover them.
Okay, I'll be honest. You don't sound loopy at all to me. So good start here today. We'll give it time. Give it time. There's plenty of time. In
this whole hour. There's like a couple hours here. You'll find out.
All right, let's go ahead and start with the SPY here. So first thing to note here, obviously we did have a close on Friday beneath that 20-day moving average. Next level down here is going to be 540. That is the 50-day moving average. Current price here on the SPY, 552 and some change. So it looks the SPY is a little bit strong here this morning. Market up pretty much across the board. Looking at the SPY here, I guess the question is, which direction do we go next? And I want to see where this candle actually closes. Do we close above this 20-day or do we close below the 20-day? Now, 13, what do you have here for the SPY?
Well, on Friday, we got some support from a previous all-time high at 548.62. And we've come up off that level and we broke through another one that was at 551.80. We're headed back up towards 555. And I think that's where we might end up testing some resistance there. Whether or not we break through, can't say. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, but I think we are going to be getting a test of 555. After that, I'm not exactly sure how the day is going to end, but I think we end up going a little bit sideways until we get some more earnings numbers. But I do think 555 is on deck for a test.
Okay. Now, do you want to cover any of the earnings? Maybe we should do the movers first, and then we can kind of talk about what earnings we're kind of looking for this week. Why don't we go ahead and do that? We'll be happy to take some tickers here from the chat. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of those movers. I see a number of tickers that are being mentioned in the chat already are going to be covered here in this little rundown. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. First one here is going to be Mira. This is ticker MIRA. We do have a catalyst here that's driving it this morning. Mira Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company announced new preclinical study results for its novel oral ketamine analog, Ketamir 2. Mira here popping as high as 140. Looks like it's backing off that high here, but doing a good job so far in the pre-market on nice volume, staying above that VWAP. This was a 70-cent stock on Friday, and we are above in dollar territory here today. So 13, what do you have here for Mira?
Well, they're going to have to raise cash. They need it in order to keep going. This is preclinical, so they haven't even got into the really expensive part of their research yet. It does have a 9.29 million share float. So very easy to move around. So this should provide some trading today. Just, remember, this is not something you want to stick around in. They are going to raise cash. They should make an offering. Could it happen today? Could happen weeks from now. Just don't be in this when they do that. So this is day trade only. Be very careful with Mira.
Okay, and this is definitely one I want to see how this trades right out of the gate, especially being up here 80% where we're currently at, just slightly above the VWAP. So there you go on Mira. Now, next one is Serve. And this is one from last week, right? This is one from Friday. Had a huge move on Friday, having another strong pre-market here today. We actually lost the VWAP, and just now, as we're talking, we are actually challenging that VWAP. Volume still looking pretty good here in the pre-market. Serve Robotics shares trading higher after NVIDIA last week disclosed a stake in the company. So it looks like we're getting some continuation here on Serve. I see a lot of members in the chat already targeting this for a potential trade here today. We're sitting right below VWAP. What do you have here on Serve?
So we've seen this before with some other names when they've reported that NVIDIA has a stake. SOUN is one name that comes to mind. So this could go on for a time. We might not, Friday might not be the end of it. It might go on today. It might go on tomorrow. It might trade up, down. It could do all kinds of things from here until whenever this whole AI bubble pops. But for targets for today, should we continue to trade to the upside? I have 1210 as my next upside target, which is the 200 EMA on the daily chart. I think we could end up getting to that point. Now, we're already trading above where a lot of the price action has been before it IPO'd or spun off or wherever this thing came from. We're getting to the point where we're going to talk and have to see some huge levels move up from here. So after 1210, $15 is going to be the next upside target I have, and then after that, I have 23.15. The first few days that this was on the market, this thing was all over the place, and that didn't really give me a whole lot of levels to draw from on the daily charts. But that's what they are. This thing could get really wild, but let's see if we can even get to 12 first. We're not too far away from there, less than $1 away. This should be a pretty volatile one today.
Okay, indeed. We will see what kind of trades we can get here on Serve, ticker SERV, likely to be one of the top movers here today. Next on the list here is going to be ticker RR. This is Rich Tech Robotics. And as you can see, this actually spiked up to $3. If we take a look at the news here, we do have a catalyst here. Rich Tech Robotics celebrates completion of installation for ADAM at Ghost Kitchens inside Dawsonville, Georgia Walmart. So it looks like we're getting a PR here about an installation of one of its systems. This stock is up 25% here. Looking at the price action here today, pop followed by a big drop. We actually traded around the VWAP for a majority of the morning here. We're beneath it. Looks like this one could be on deck here today. 13. What say you?
Well, it has a 23.1 million share float. The thing I'm looking at right now is that it is trading underneath its VWAP, and the pre-market high that it had is 299. Well, let's call it 3. So that would be the first level that I think it needs to take out in order to get some more upside going. I don't have levels for this one yet, just that $3 one. Need to recapture VWAP before we really even have that conversation. And there's a little bit of a later high in this morning after we got that initial spike to 3. That one is topped out at looks like 212. So that could be another level as well. 212 and $3 would be the next upside targets, and we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, and I do think here in the pre-market, it's actually kind of running up to that $2 barrier. So I want to see if there's maybe any size or sellers waiting there at 2 when the market opens. That might be one of our tells here. VWAP at 194. So pretty close to that round number as it is, ticker RR. Jonathan Cooper here saying, Ryan, RR is the stock we looked at after the IPO. Jonathan, I don't remember the discussion from that particular day. We normally do look at all of these IPOs. I know several of you folks in the chat have actually been trading IPOs on their IPO days and have done fairly well, even with some of the let's call them lesser known ones, I suppose. So I don't remember the context of that, but good mention nonetheless. All right. Next here on the list is going to be Amix. And what do you know? This is another one that we talked about last week. They had a huge pop here on Friday morning, gave us an actual decent trade. A little bit strong here, or a little bit of strength here, I should say, in the pre-market, but volume pretty much non-existent, at least compared to the session that we had here on Friday. We'll see if this can get going again here. 170, at least to the upside, seems to be the level that we're going to need to take out. Currently sitting at 165. We're right there at the VWAP at 163. You have any thoughts here on Amix? Another last week play, looks like it's rearing its head again.
Yeah, I didn't cover this one. This has a 7.49 million share float, so this should be easy to move around. It does have a pre-market high here of 195, almost $2. Well, let's call it 195. So that would be the first upside target that I have with that. And then after that, there's 212, which was from Friday's high. So those would be the next two upside targets I would have in AMIX. I haven't checked out any of the really the news or anything. You said it was just a Momo from last week.
Yeah, that's what this was a play that we actually had here on Friday. We do have a PR here this morning, but it's about participating in a virtual investor conference. So I'm kind of thinking that that's just kind of carrying the momentum from last week, but I don't really know that how much is in there. Now, what happens at that conference, we'll see. Maybe that will be a catalyst for the next move here. Jonathan, Ryan, remember the robot bartender? Actually, not. Yes, I do vaguely remember that now that you might see. That's all I had to. All you had to do was tell me about the robot bartender, and that was enough to shock.
Was it like
my
the
memory.
one from Fifth Element?
That is such a good movie. Actually, that might be on the watch list for this week. We'll see. Smoke Tuna saying RR week for the open. So Smoke Tuna, I think one of the things that you're saying here is let's wait that one out, right? Let's wait RR out. Easy for me to say.
It's a seal over here.
And see, oh my God, I didn't even realize. And see how this one actually does. I would love to hear if you think that this one is going to firm up. You've been lights out with calling some of the bottoms on some of these smaller names here recently, so keep that up. Next here is going to be MLGO, and this is another one that we've traded a whole bunch. There are multiple opportunities in this last week. You've seen it's had big moves in the past here. Are we at a bottom, maybe kind of curling back towards this $4 level? You tell me. MLGO popping here in the pre-market on some volume. I know that this one was an ex-girlfriend. 13, did you have anything on MLGO here?
I only noticed that it was moving this morning, so I have my eyes on it. It is beneath VWAP, so not exactly where I want to see it out of the gate, but we'll see what happens with this. It's just on my radar. I don't really have anything on it except the pre-market high that I'm seeing here is 335. So that's what I'll be shooting for if we start looking after. I'm sorry, let me back up. 335 will be after we get to VWAP. So if we get to VWAP and push through that, then that's what I'll be looking for. But I think the first thing we need to see happen is get recapturing VWAP. So.
Okay. And real quick, since we've talked, Serve actually did test and break through that VWAP. It's sitting right there. So we're going to have an interesting open here on Serve. I think this was going to be definitely one that we continue to look at here today. Honorable mention for another stock here is going to be ticker ONDS. You may have heard me talk about this one. This is a longer term play that I've actually was adding in small lots and then dollar cost averaging as it really came back in. You can see recently it's kind of traded up off the bottom. One of the few penny, Carmen, looking at you, one of the few penny stocks here that I own, and I'm considerably underwater on this one. But news here this morning, Ondas secures initial purchase order for the drone radar system for military deployment, terms not disclosed. It's always going to be one of the wild cards there, whether or not the terms are disclosed. But a drone PR here going to be used in the conflict there in the Middle East. So Ondas trading up here by 12%. We'll see if Ondas actually gets rolling here today. I'll be honest, I've watched this stock for a long time. It doesn't trade all that great. We would really need a substantial move here in volume. As you can see, float here, 46 million. Unsure if this gets rolling here today, but there was a PR for it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some other stocks here that you folks want to take a look at. I know, obviously, the big news here is going to be with Biden dropping out over the weekend. And what does that mean for the market? What types of stocks can we look to trade? For any of you that joined pre-market prep this morning, I thought they did a great job kind of running down some of those names. And it's going to be a dynamic that we're going to continue to watch here. One of the stocks or one of the groups of stocks that we're definitely going to be watching no matter what is going to be tech. And how does that respond to all of this? So 13, just kind of getting your general thoughts on how this is going to affect some stocks here today. Is there anything that you're kind of looking for out of the gate to see how the market responds to this news?
Oh gosh, out of the gate off of that, I don't know for sure, but with how we've been seeing some of these solar names start to move up, and we're seeing some energy names. I'm just looking at the XIII. That seems to be moving down this morning. It seems like there is some a little bit of profit taking in the energy names, as there was an expectation that he was going to win, and now it seems like that might be more of a guaranteed thing. I don't want to say that it is a guaranteed thing, but more of a guaranteed thing now that his biggest rival is now out of the running. But with these rate sensitive names and his talk of wanting to have lower rates during his presidency, it seems like those rate sensitive names might do well. So utilities, solar, small caps, they and some banks, they could all end up doing really well. I don't know exactly where I'd be pinpointing this morning. Like I said, I haven't got a whole lot of sleep, so a little loopy. But I'm just going to kind of see what happens, because we're in a little bit of uncharted territory here with as far as this dropout goes. We've never had a presidential election where the incumbent candidate or any candidate for that matter has dropped out just so close to the election. I think we're less than 120 days away now.
Yeah. So I'm with you there. And the whole thing with solar here, you bring up a really good point. Obviously, there's the discussion with clean tech clean energy and dirty energy. I actually think Trump is going to support nuclear energy as far as the clean side goes. But as it pertains to solar here, one of the things that we've known for a long, long time is how dependent solar is on rates. And you bring up a really good point there. If one of the goals of the Trump administration, if in fact he does win, is to lower interest rates, you would imagine that that would do well for solar here. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to watch. TAN here up 3% in the pre-market. Watch some of those solar names like Run, ticker Run, SPWR, Solar Edge, SEDG, ENPH, Enphase, all of these responding to this here today. So that will be an interesting one to watch, no doubt.
Some tech might do well. I know that tech has really had a huge run, so there should be profit taking in this. We should see, of course, the Mag 70 to really come in. But some of the smaller names that haven't really gotten as much attention, that are still good companies, that sector, that part of tech might do okay, as rotation out of the big names starts to happen, and we've already started seeing that happen. But we'll have to wait and see what how this plays out. So I'm just watching.
And one of the things I want to reiterate that they were saying on pre-market prep that I agree with is, in addition to this kind of being uncharted territory, as you just mentioned here, this is likely going to be volatile, leading all the way up to the election.
Oh, next 2 weeks are going to be volatile.
Like I said, I think it's going to be volatile all the way up, but the next 2 weeks for sure. DJT here, another one that might be in play here today. You can see it spiked right out of the pre-market open, really kind of just holding this consolidation area. It's curling up here right before the open. Volume not necessarily notable at this point, so want to see what happens to this when the market actually opens up as well. Okay, now we talked a little bit about earnings. So one thing that I want to do here, courtesy of Alyssa for making these beautiful graphics. Shout out, Alyssa! Happy Monday. Here is going to be your earnings calendar for this week. So we had kind of talked about this a little bit. We're going to have a very, very busy week here with earnings. This is likely going to affect a lot of the different stocks that we're looking at on a regular basis. Today, we had Verizon here this morning, which we can go ahead and take a look at next if you want. But a look ahead here in the week is going to show you how many really kind of big companies are reporting. After the market closes here today, the big ones, NXPI, Logitech, Nucor, and Cliffs for sure. Tomorrow we have Spotify and UPS in the morning. That UPS should be a decent read on the consumer and where we're going there. I guess GE and Coke, if you're interested in that. But then Tesla, Google, Enphase, Visa Tuesday night, Chipotle, that's going to be a big one. That Chipotle sell-off, where do we go from there on Wednesday? So lots of stuff here. We're likely not going to be able to cover them all, at least not in one day. But 13, are there any of these that you're kind of looking at here today? Or you know what? I don't even mean to put you on the spot, 13, especially with the sleep deprivation. How about anyone else in the chat here? Are there any big earnings plays that you folks are looking at here today? I know Tesla's always a popular one. Tesla's actually trading up here today, so that's pretty good. So let me know. Let me know if there are any plays that you folks want to take a look at. Here is Verizon. Verizon shares trading lower after a Q2 revenue miss. Verizon down about 4.5% here today. I don't think that the report was all that bad, right? Well, it was a miss on the top line, miss on the bottom line.
How'd they guide?
And the guide was 450 to 470 versus a 456 estimate. So the guide looks pretty much right in line. It looks like they reaffirmed their full year forecast as well. They did have the CEO on CNBC this morning, but that doesn't seem to be helping the stock price, at least not yet. Verizon down here 4% in the pre-market.
Yeah, it must be some kind of magic number or year-over-year expectation that this wasn't met. I'd have to look more into that. But no, one of the companies that I'm interested to see how they report is going to be UPS. UPS, FedEx, and some of these other freighters are kind of a gauge on the economy. So, did you have some? Were you saying something?
No, I was saying, okay, because I had mentioned UPS there. I know that that's something that you're waiting for here. For me, UPS here, 200-day at 148, current price at 145. We're right beneath it. I'm almost wondering if a good earnings report here pops this above the 200 and actually gives us a potential for a swing long here. It'd be interesting to see if we end up getting that.
Certainly has that setup there to take it over the 200. I mean, this chart looks like it's kind of bottomed, but I don't want to, make any comment here that's going to turn people into wanting to buy this. But this could break through the 200. Look how it's constantly getting rejected there, and if the earnings is good, I think that you're right. It could definitely take it up there.
Pretty huge pretty huge volume shelf there, right about that. Let's call it 147.75 to 148 there. So that area. Pretty decent volume shelf there as well. Okay. All right. Carm, you want to say, I'm playing VRT. Will you take a look at VRT? Sure. This is one we've taken a look at quite a bit here. This is Vertiv Holdings. We actually lost the 100-day last week. And this morning, it looks like we're at least trying to try that to the upside here. We'll see if VRT can end up regaining that. Carmen, let me know if there's anything else in here that you're kind of looking at. This seems to be like it's kind of in no man's land right now, as we're right beneath two of those moving averages. We're also beneath the 50-day here. RSI kind of in no man's land. 13, I know this wasn't on the list here, but I'm just wondering if there's anything that you see here in the VRT chart. If not, I can go ahead and take a look at Chipotle next as well.
It kind of looks like it's in the process of rolling over. Let me just look at something real quick here. It looks like it could end up going down to 73. Well, it does need to kind of recapture its 20-day SMA, but this formation here just looks like it's going lower.
So we do have, as Carmen's mentioning, we do have earnings on this Wednesday morning. So we're going to have a big binary event coming up here. What I would say, at least in my position, is that I'm not a holder of this stock. I want to see how those earnings actually pan out. Carm, I know that this is not a day trade for you. This is more of a kind of a swing trade here. So I'd be looking for you. What's the plan here? Do you have a target price or a target area? And then do you have a downside stop on this?
Yeah.
And you're swing trading it for earnings. So it sounds like, based on what you're saying, that you're actually going to hold that through the print. Let me know if I got that right.
It just looks like 80. 80 is the level it needs to hold. There's consolidation here back in April that it's kind of a demand zone that's getting some support from right now. It loses that, then I think you're looking at 73.
And 200 there, slightly below that at 67 and a half. Okay, really good stuff there. What other stocks do you folks want to take a look at here today? While we're kind of waiting for those, I'll use this time to remind you that the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. Let me get the right banner up there. Boom, boom, boom. So if you need help getting above the 25K day trading threshold or need some more dry powder, perhaps Prop Firm is the answer for you. Trade the Pool does a great job sponsoring our stream. Check them out. Also worth mentioning that they're doing a trading competition starting next Monday from July 29th to August 2nd. Link is in the description for that. If you want to try and run those leaderboards, go ahead and check them out. Okay, let's go back to the comments here and see what folks want to take a look at here. AZB, you want to take a look at ASML, SMCI, and Melly. So let's run through some of those here real quick. These are stocks that we talk about on a regular basis. ASML, to me, this one's fairly simple, right? We're going to try and make a move towards that 200-day. Now, we are bouncing here today, or at least we're up 3.6% here in the pre-market. So it looks like maybe that downside move is done, or at least temporarily done here. For me, for a potential trade here, I would definitely want to be trying to wait out 850 to see what happens. This goes back to a support level from April. We also have a gap, the top end of a gap right beneath that at 824, and those are kind of around this 200-day. So to my eye here, at least on the daily chart, looks like this might really want to come in towards that 200-day. You take a look at some longer-term charts here, you can actually see how extended this is from some of those moving averages and what it's done with some of those moving averages in the past. You got anything on ASML 13?
No, I think you're absolutely right. 850 is the level to watch for, in my opinion.
Okay. Real good stuff there. SMCI, I think, was the other one. Another really popular stock here in this group. This gonna go with the tech trade, right? Looks like we're about to open here. SMCI up a little bit. Let's go ahead and flip over to Trade the Pool and make some sense about what's going on. All right. We are open, folks. Good luck. Let's bring Serve into focus right off the open here. We are right above the VWAP here.
Always whipping around.
Who Datees, SPY, put or call? You tell me, man. What are you playing here today? You think the SPY is going to be strong here today, or do we retest some of those lows from Friday? Serve 1136, battling right here at the VWAP. Let me flip it. Let me get my scanner ready here as well.
$13 in the pre-market.
Mira trying to trade up here as well. Let me roll through some of these real quick while we're taking a look. Mira looking like it's going for that pre-market high here. Do see some size at 145. I've got that pre-market high there at 144, it looks like. So some size there at 144 and 145 on Mira. Smoke Tuna mentioning CrowdStrike. Let's see what's that. It's retesting the lows, it looks like, from last week. So we got a kind of a short-term bounce here. CrowdStrike looks like this is moving to the lows here. Curious to know how any of you folks are trading CrowdStrike. Maybe do we think the selling gets exhausted here, or do we go lower? Serve through that VWAP. So that battle has resolved to the upside. Looks like we're going for that other pre-market level here that we had at 1212.
Looks like DJT is trying to get going here as well. Still trying to push up to the 36.45 level that I have here. It was really close to that price in the pre-market. The pre-market high, 36.68.
Serve through that 1212 spot, 1245 your high. We got that supply zone 13 right here at 1250. Well, you're almost right there. Serve pulling back a little bit here.
Yep, because we hit that 200-day EMA. That's Serve. That was at 1210. So we could pull back here if we keep going, though. I think 15 is next.
Okay. Serve continuing to push to the highs here. 1245, your intraday high. It looks like this is going to get slapped right here.
Yeah, it's coming up to a big old supply zone here from pre-market. So that could come in a bit.
There's a little yank back down to 12. We'll see if this sets up here. I want to check in on Mira. Jonathan Cooper mentioning Mira here through those pre-market highs. There you go, Jonathan. Great call there. Right through that 144, 145 level. Sorry, 13.
No worries. MLGO a little weak out of the gate here. Maybe it tries to get some support around 280. See what happens at that level. RR not able to get it back above VWAP. And like you said, Serve coming in.
Learn with Moses says my audio is fading. I don't have any indication that that's the case from any of my meters here. Is anyone else having trouble with my audio? 13, do I sound okay on your end?
You sound okay to me. Real quick, Sentinel 1 getting a mention here. That one has some movement out of the gate, looking pretty good, going up.
Yeah, and remember, we talked about this last week when the whole CrowdStrike issue surfaced, this as being one of the competitors. We also mentioned PanW and FTNT, Fortinet, in that same breath.
Here goes Mira, MIRA.
Sounds good, Nate. Okay, thanks. JD, not interested in any of the Chinese names, to be honest. That is trading up here today. Sorry.
For MIRA,
Mhm.
184 looks really interesting. There's a couple of, I mean, it's not only a previous high back from March, it's also the 200-day EMA on MIRA. So that could be interesting. We might run up to that and then have trouble getting over it.
Serve 1250 here, your high print. There is some size here. Stay focused. Joining, saying serve may continue to run. Okay, that's what the chat consensus here. Jay, you've been saying buy the dip all morning here. No sound issues here. Okay, thanks, Becca. Serve coming back into that 12 area. RR looked like that sell-off did get bought there. So did it actually print 178 there? Yes, it looks like it did. Take a look at some of the other tech names here real quick. TSM popping off the open. That's interesting. NVIDIA also a little bit higher. SMCI not participating yet. So SMCI backing off a little bit. We'll see if this catches here. Jane Smith.
Great success.
That was look, if the Borat one is the one that I play by accident, I'll live with that. Nice little register ring here for Jane. Great trade early, getting a little bit of green on the screen here. Serve pulling back. So here, if we're going to buy the dip on Serve, what's the level here? Pulling back right now, we're right at VWAP. What do we think here?
I mean, if not here, maybe 1130. I really can't say for sure, but it seems like it's not going to pull back too far because we're coming into a bit of a demand zone area here. But yeah, I agree with stay focused. This like SOUN, this could be a runner since it has that NVIDIA stake.
Mira halted. Let me check on that here real quick. Thank you, Rick. Halted here, 162 to the upside. Bid brought in. This is continuing to roll. Smoke Tuna, you had mentioned that Mira volume pop in there. That drove this to new highs here. Really good spot early on Mira. Let's see if Serve comes into that 1130 area that you were looking at, currently at 1150 right here.
Look at the Bitcoin names. Bitcoin is now pushing up pretty good right now to the 68,000 level. It looks like it wants to try to take it out.
Bitcoin, nice bounce off that 57K level. Here's Tesla also trading up here. Tesla looking like this is going to try and go higher here. Abercrombie and Fitch. Chris, good morning. Sorry, 13, I didn't mean to run you over there. Chris, good morning. It's great to see you here. Abercrombie and Fitch, I believe, got an upgrade here this morning. Let me try and pull that for you.
Yeah, it's Jay's Life saying 1140 supports. That sounds about right. I was saying 1130, 1140 sounds good too.
Okay. Currently at 1165 here. Yeah,
there's a upper shadow that kind of goes up to the 1140. That looks like where it could be bottoming out above VWAP, so that's good. Intraday high 1250. Now it's got to get through the wall at $12 and we're off.
Yeah, and as far as Abercrombie here goes, Abercrombie and Fitch shares trading higher after JP Morgan upgraded the stock from neutral to overweight and raised its price target 167 to 194. Remember, Jay Rice had been pounding the table on Abercrombie for what feels like a year now. Abercrombie taking another leg higher here. Take a look. Let's go back to Serve here. Serve is trying. RR trying to recapture 2 as well. It did. Okay, so RR looks like that dip got bought, pushing to the high end of the range here on RR. 212 is one of those spots I think we talked about in the pre-market.
Yep. And then after that, $3. Looks like MLGO is lower. RR. Everybody's saying RR. Yeah, because if it can get past those pre-market highs, could get a pretty quick move up.
Saba, nice move here. Good call, Tuna. Didn't have my eye on that one at all here today. Serve got a bid there at 1150. Looks like it's going to test that here. Given the action here on serve, I wouldn't be surprised if that got eaten. Furthermore, I wouldn't be surprised if that got eaten to the downside and then popped again. That's what we've seen here so far this morning.
It do be like that.
You just wanted to say doobie this early in the morning.
Where's
NAAS
wisdom?
popping through the VWAP here, 725, the highs there. Morning yacht insurance guy from Florida. Love the handle. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful Monday morning. Great to see ya.
Sentinel 1 popped up to 24.24 and it's coming back in a little bit. Still above VWAP.
Serve held that 1150 area that we were just talking about here. 1180 has some offer size on it, but that can get taken pretty easily.
Smoke tuna mentioning MEIP.
Meep.
Oh, yeah.
Also popping here. That took out those pre-market highs already, too.
Yeah, just barely. And then it came right back in. I want to see it do it again.
Born, good morning. It's great to see you here. Appreciate all of your contributions to Zinger Nation. Great to have you here this morning, my man.
Smoke tuna mentioning NAAS. Another one we traded before.
Yeah, that one we just saw pop through the view. I've just had that one on here as well.
Yeah, and blew right through it.
CLRB.
Let's see, on Friday, that really sold off in the afternoon. The Friday high is 1045. I don't know that it gets up there, but there's an upside target.
Serve broke that 1150 to the downside. Now we'll see where this bottoms. I don't think this is going to be the last opportunity here yet. Serve actually moving beneath its VWAP here. We'll see where this settles out. Good morning, Amanda. You bought Pan W here today, so that should be pretty good as well. That's actually higher here. How did CrowdStrike do? That is still moving lower here, so I got to think S and Pan W going to be in favor here, like that setup as well.
MEIP looks like that one's trying to get ready to go higher.
Nova moving lower here. I'll bring up MEIP. Serve broke through 11 now, so that continues to move to the downside here. Here's MEIP, looking like that's going to take out 366 here. Mira is open. Mira going higher here, 180. Man, there is size above on all of these, and they are getting hit. Lots of buying interest here in Mira. Bryce mentioning Sentinel 1 broke up. This is actually still just kind of holding out at the highs here. Mira here, is this another potential halt here at 189 on Mira? If it stays.
Serve
Mira halt, sorry, 13. Mira halted to the upside here, 189. Let me bring up serve for you.
Yeah, got picked back up above 11.
1034 bounce. Wow. See if we go through the VWAP here on serve. Got the VWAP at 1143. Sava 1175. Here we go on serve. It's trying to come back up towards that VWAP. Let's see what it does right here.
While you're doing that, RR got up to 216. Looks like MEIP is trying to break out as well.
So right back to 1150 here. Sorry.
No worries.
Nvidia keeps moving higher here. Apple holding on to its strength from the pre-market, at least so far. IWM is pulling back. Okay. That's was a little bit higher here. Serve continuing its bounce. So there's the 1150 area.
Oh, what a great formation IWM has on the daily.
Hang on, let me ban the spammer here. One sec. Oh my God.
Yeah, you get it. You know, you like Bitcoin. It did go up to 68,000 in reverse. So that's all. There, that still happened. 68,000. That's the level to beat today for Bitcoin.
RR getting mentioned. That is continuing to move higher here on RR. 220. What was that other spot that you had above 212?
For RR?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me get that. 265, I think.
Okay. Okay. See if we end up getting that here. Serve did go through its VWAP here, but didn't really make a run. So we'll see what Serve does next here. Yeah, sure. It's got no soup for you. Arguably one of the greatest Seinfeld episodes of all time. I struggle to think of one that's more quotable than that. Here we go on Serve. We're trying again.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to try. Well, it looks like it wants to try it, push up to 1250. Not that saying it's going to do that. It's got that overhead supply to deal with. Just there's at 12. Now it's pulling now.
Yeah, there's a little yank there, but this one was just back down to the VWAP. Seems to be holding that area. That's 1150 continues to come back into play here. And they just took, there was some size there. And again, they didn't struggle at all to take it. So still dip buying clearly still working here. Serve. Looking around here at some other stuff.
MEIP popped to 380 and came back in. So that was cool. Of a quick trade there. Serve still pushing up, trying to.
Nate,
MLG. What's that? Go ahead.
No, I'm just having a discussion with other like-minded Seinfeld fans here, which I do just kind of randomly. Nate, I agree. Festivus for the rest of us, baby. That is also one of my favorite episodes of all time. Sorry, 13. I'll dial it back here. MEIP looking like it might take out some of those highs here. Serve still riding this VWAP. Doesn't look like it wants to break down here. Here we go. Nice little pull off that level there.
Yeah, it looks like Sentinel One
Tesla
trying to go higher than 24. Maybe that happens in a little bit, but has a nice formation there.
Right here at the VWAP on Sentinel One.
Mm-hmm.
Still, tell you what, Bitcoin actually just kind of sold off from that 68 level down to 67.5.
Oh yeah, there it is. So now it's going to come down and probably test 67 as support.
Smoke Tuna giving us a first indication here. Serve might break down if it cannot hold this level. So here we are. We are right under that VWAP, Smoke Tuna. We'll see. We'll see what goes on here. Let me know how the sentiment here is likely to change all day. So let me know where you're going back and forth. Good morning, Crow. Tippy Toes, another classic. That is a Seinfeld episode. Which one are you referencing? I'm drawing a huge blank here, Crow. Help me out. Good to see you this morning.
All right, here we go with Sentinel One. Pushing up.
Mira open here. Mira hired through 2 now. Mira, wow. This thing over $1.20 in gain here today. Mira, huge ripper so far.
And remember, this is the one that still needs to raise cash and they have a 9.29 million share float. So this could also come back in quickly as well.
I tell you what, folks, you folks are making my Monday morning glorious. We just watched the Candy Bar lineup episode last night. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the Candy lineup. Oh, we all know Twix is the only one with the cookie crunch. Okay, I'm having a little too much fun here this morning, but I can't help it.
Just looking for S to break that 24.24. It's getting close, and looks like SERB is still trying to get above 1150.
They're trying to buy the dip here and serve. We'll see if we can get above that 1150 level. Uncle Stim here saying, do you trade index options? Show on this would be hot heading into the election cycle. So Uncle Stim, we will trade anything here. Generally, we don't trade any of the indexes in any of the live trades, although a number of the chat members will trade this and kind of swing this. We break down the market movements every single day. But also be sure to check out Zunaid, who does Futures Fever. He is almost always trading those futures contracts for the market. So we do have stuff like that. But if there's anything that you are trading here, we want to hear about it. Let us know.
Yeah, I just read that.
Down?
Yeah, right after I say, just be careful. This one has, needs cash, all this and that, and it goes down. I needed to speak quiet.
Oh, Rick.
Oh, hell yes.
Let's go, Rick. And we're going to finish it off with the Chewbacca roar. Been holding Mira since February. I'm all out now with 4K profit. Rick, this is a good Monday morning, isn't it? I'm done with it. Great job there on that move on Mira. Great stuff there.
So new highs. That pattern worked out really well. 24.37 now the high.
That was a good call. You were all over that one.
That one's been pretty good. Mira's been pretty good. MEIP got a little bit on that one. Would like to see Serve blast off. I said it, so now it's going to happen, right?
Well, maybe. You've been pretty good with some of those calls there. Came back in towards this 1150 spot.
No, this will probably be the one where it just wipes everybody out. I don't want to say that, though.
Well, just because you said that, there we go. I'm filled 100 here at 1150. So small starter here on Serve. We'll see where this goes. Now that I'm in it, let's see if you get that flush that you were just talking about there. Go Steve D. Currently trying to average down in Chipotle before earnings. Okay, so that tells me then, based on what you're saying here, that you're actually trying to trade this for earnings, right? You want to hold this through the earnings print. Looks like you think Chipotle is going to do well on those earnings there. Let's see if Serve can blast off here. 1170 might be one of those spots.
So with Chipotle, it looks like I guess he wants to try to just play it for the 200-day SMA bounce.
Here, let's bring up a bigger chart here on Chipotle while we wait out the Serve move. We'll see if it goes higher here. If we go down to another one of those support levels, we can add and see if we can get another trade there. So here's Chipotle. Let me bring this up here real quick. So if we take a look here, the big thing for me on Chipotle is this 200-day. I've been kind of waiting for this one. Now, we did get down there and almost test it. I'm a little nervous about this ahead of earnings, to be quite honest with you, but I definitely want to see how this does. If you're long this, good luck to you. I think that this 200-day could be a potential bounce spot here for Chipotle. And if they get good earnings, that might accelerate this. We'll see if that stops the post-split malaise that we've seen here on Chipotle so far. It was posted. Go Steve D.
Yeah. And just for reference here, this stock is not corrected. I guess we can call it a correction, but it's more like a bear market correction. It went down 24% off its high CMG after the split. So
you're saying it's in correction territory?
Well, what I'm saying is it's been walloped, so it's now down pretty significantly. It could recover some of that, but I don't know that it's going to go on to break out of the highs that it made and make new all-time highs.
So this is an interesting one here. Born saying, man, I went to Chipotle this weekend and the food was bad. Maybe a one-off, but I won't go back. They handled it in a nasty way and the whole place was dirty. I won't try it again. Interesting. I have not had that experience in Chipotle. I do really like Chipotle. I think it's priced well and I think the food's good. The ones around me almost always clean. In fact, they are always. I'm trying to recall a time where I've been like, ugh. But that'll ruin it, man. That'll for sure ruin it. A bad experience like that.
NAAS had a great move, and it's looking like it's getting ready to have another move. Just mind the volume, but this has a nice formation, but just mind the volume.
Yacht Insurance guy says my teenagers love Chipotle. What teenager doesn't? Here is NAAS back down to the VWAP here. Interesting spot. The Chipotle, wasn't it? You were mentioning Chipotle salmonella. Wasn't it E. coli? I remember when that happened a few years ago. It shrugged that off like it wasn't even a big deal at the time. Tom, I believe you said Chipotle earnings was Wednesday. Is that before or after Mark? Oh, after. Market. Yeah, the Chipotle is going to be in the evening here. Real quickly, I can throw this graphic up again here. Chipotle is after the close on Wednesday. Let me know if you guys want to take a look at this sheet. I'm going to save this as a graphic and use this all week. Big shouts, Alyssa.
Sentinel 1 going higher.
Serve here holding in. So we got to make a move here, right? We've kind of been straddling this VWAP for a bit here. Do we yank off this or do we go higher here? It's trying to go right now. Let's see where we end up going here, though. It's
just
still dancing over
Yeah, it just runs into a ton of pressure as soon as it starts to get going over 1150. Oh, Carmen, no problem. I love that stock. I'm not in it anymore, but man, that would have been a great one to hold on to for longer than I did.
Yeah.
But no problem. That has been a wonderful one, and it should continue to do well.
Here we go on serve. Let's see if we can break above this 180 spot. It's got a little bit of an ask there, but that's nothing. There we go, right through it. Looks like 12 test coming up here on serve.
Yeah.
We shall see.
They're getting feisty, aren't they?
There is
Nice,
12.
bro.
We're going to pop through 12 here. Yes, we are. I'm actually going to close this trade right here. We can always trade this again if it sets up. But like Jane, I'm going to get green on the screen here. 1-for-1 serve. We called this in the pre-market. Nice little start here. Don't think this is done. And Smoked Tuna, one of the things that you've been saying about buying dips, buying weakness, that has been proven to be true on a lot of these names. Look at the pull we're getting here on serve. Boys.
Great exit.
Yep.
That was it right there. That was a great exit.
Selling into strength, right? Buying weakness, selling strength. That's something that we've been talking about here recently. And even if it's small, you can compound those numbers if you're able to do that over and over again. Great stuff there. Jay's Life, crush and serve right here. Let's go. Let's give you the double, the stutter register ring right there. That was actually my fault, but we're gonna act like we tried to do that on purpose. Let's see. Is anything else new?
Sentinel 1 is still going on.
Bringing it on screen here.
And MEIP looks like that one's going to try to break 380 here.
Ron, good morning. It's great to see you. Benzinga has been logging in and performing fine all day here this morning. I would make sure you're on the production site instead of the beta site. I think I've given you the beta address before for some other issues, Ron. So just ensure you're on pro.benzinga.com. Maybe give it a refresh. You should be okay. If not, you can either reach out to our support or shoot me an email. I can look into it for you, but you should be all right this morning, Ron. And this Sentinel 1, this was good, 13.
Mm-hmm.
CrowdStrike continuing to move to the lows. Let's take a look at the updated chart here on CrowdStrike. That's CMG. Let's go CRWD.
And Sentinel 1 was not my call either. That was getting mentioned in the chat. Just had to say that.
Okay. CrowdStrike here. So today's candle taking us below that 200-day. This to me hunting for a bottom here. I could see some support here, 263. Let's call it 260 to 263 if it keeps going here. The other thing to keep note here on CrowdStrike is even if over these next couple of days, if it starts to kind of like slow down here and then maybe show like it's going to recapture that 200-day, also a potential long setup. 13, what'd you have there?
Switch to the weekly for CrowdStrike.
Right to the 50-week moving average.
Yep.
So maybe this is a spot where it kind of slows down.
Could get a bounce. I don't know that it's necessarily we're gonna see a reversal, but we should see some support here from this moving average, at least for a day or two. We'll see. MEIP did. Well, it just barely popped above 380.
Here, let me put that back on screen here real quick.
No worries. All right, looks like Serve is trying to serve it up again. Here it goes.
Shoot, I'm trying to do too many things at once. Let me bring Serve up here too.
What does it want? 1250 now? Wow.
Robert, we just had a release and the beta is in production. So it depends how long you've been using the beta. It wasn't last week. It was the week before. All of those features were moved over to production. So be sure to test out production for some of those much improved features that you're mentioning there.
IWM selling more. Let me take a look at that, see what we're dealing with here. Okay. I mean, it's It's kind of more sideways comparatively to Friday, but it is going lower. Oh, look at this. Look at Serve go now. Serve going up to what is that? 12.35.
There it is.
It looks like it wants 12.50 and higher.
Now 12.50 should be a supply zone from the pre-market and an intraday resistance. So let's see if we pull off that. That might give us a buy the dip scenario. Ron, I'm asking someone onto the team to reach out with Monday morning. They're probably jammed up. Your account looks fine though.
Yeah, I'm curious if the server pushes through this supply on this attempt up here. Didn't do it in the pre-market. They might do it in this one.
They just refreshed the 12.50 spot there, and it took it. Now it's yanking. So we're seeing some of this volatility right at that resistance area. This is to be expected.
Yeah, 12.75. Got another 25 cents on that move from earlier.
CMAX getting called out here. Crow and tuna. There you go, Robert. Production should be real stable too. Enjoy.
Oh, man.
So what do we think? We think if we get another yank here on Serve, that's going to be buyable? Because it's sure showing strength all day, pre-market and regular session here today.
So I guess for me, because we usually see names like this do better after lunch, I think that the lunch hour might be a little bit weaker, and then it would start to it could sell off a little bit, and then later on in the day come back up. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. It could just break out here, but we are getting less and less volume as time goes on, and we are approaching the lunch hour, and that tends to be when things dry up.
Smoke Tuna mentioning that Serve wants to break. Smoke Tuna, that would be one of the best things that we could do right now, right? If we take a little bit of a break here on Serve, maybe that'll set up for another move higher here.
If it breaks 13, I would expect it to have a pretty gnarly run. I don't know that it's going to go all the way to 15, but that's my next upside target after 13.
Okay. It is 10 o'clock. You guys keep an eye there on Serve. There we go. It did just punch through that, looking like it's trying to go higher here. We'll see here on 13. 13, we'll let you know about the test at 13. It is 10 o'clock on Monday, which means it is time for the one and only Matt Malley. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Matt, happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. How are you doing today?
Doing well. I hope you had a good weekend as well. It's a great weather-wise, if nothing else.
It was great weather. I got in golf. I was as happy as a clam. Matt, I was doing the best job I could, just enjoying my time with friends and family. And then we got this huge news drop on Sunday. So I just want to start there with, just from a market perspective, from a market angle, what do you think one of the candidates dropping out means? And how are you approaching what stocks you're looking at or trying to take trades on?
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to know exactly how much of an impact this has. I mean, we are seeing a bit of an unwind of the Trump trade, and some of the, some of those stocks are coming down, but Bitcoin came down a little bit, at least over the weekend. And then, we've seen some bounce back, some of these solar stocks and things like that. But I mean, we're a long way from knowing who's going to actually win this election. So I don't know. I mean, we don't even know I realize that a lot of people are endorsing Vice President Harris, but the big powers haven't yet. I mean, the Obamas, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, et cetera, they haven't endorsed her yet. So there's no guarantee yet what that will be. A lot more volatility. So really right now, I'm kind of like saying, yeah, this is really interesting. It's getting all the headlines and in both the regular, in the political press and the financial press. But I think very quickly we're going to turn right back to what's going on with earnings this earnings season. We'll get a little bit more on the Fed as well. We get the inflation number on Friday with the PCE deflator. I just think that will have an. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say this has no impact. I just think it's going to have a bigger impact down the road when we get a better understanding of who he's going to actually be running against. And as that happens, I think, as we usually do, we usually see the race narrow to a certain degree. So there's a lot of hoopla going on here. I'm sure. Pouring salt on the wound for President Biden. I remember every once in a while when when a CEO resigns and the stock goes up, his or her stock goes up, it always makes him look bad. He bows out and the market goes up in a big way. That's kind of pouring salt on the wound. But I think on a longer term basis, even an intermediate term basis, we're going to be more focused on what's going on in the earnings arena.
Okay, and you set that up perfectly for me, Matt. We have a big week of earnings coming here today. I've been showing the graphic all morning. I'll show it here again real quick. Big names. UPS, often an indicator of the economy. Names like Tesla and Google and Chipotle and Ford and all types of different names. Is there anything in particular that you're watching here this week with our first really big slate of earnings?
Google, or Alphabet, I should say, is at the top of my list. That's tomorrow night after the close. Okay. And remember, they reported actually a little bit disappointing earnings last quarter, but the stock, the stock sold off, but it bounced back almost immediately and rallied quite nicely. And of course, it's had a great run since then. However, the biggest thing we have here, because it's number one more than anything else, everybody's talking about how these earnings. I mean, and something I've been harping on for a long time. We have 10% or 11% earnings growth is still the expectation for this year. The problem is that last year we had zero earnings growth and the market rallied 25%. So we pulled forward a lot of those earnings growth for this year. And if the market was trading at 16 times earnings, 11% earnings growth would be great. It's trading at 23 times earnings, 22 times earnings. So we need much better earnings growth. And so we're going to need to see that these AI numbers earnings broaden out. Right now, it's just the chip makers, NVIDIA being the obvious one, still making great earnings, Advanced Micro, Micron, et cetera. But the end users aren't really turning things up. And we know the Googles have some problems with rolling out their AI initiatives, and that some real things that didn't work at all. So if we start to hear stuff that says that hey, it's going to take us a lot longer to actually make money on these huge investment we've made in AI, these stocks are going to come down. If the entire and if that it takes down the tech sector in general, again, because it's so highly weighted in the indices, that's going to be a problem for the markets.
Okay. Google here, just looking at this chart, Google right off the 50-day ahead of those earnings. Really interesting stuff there. Okay. And then, Matt, I know last week I was just kind of looking over your chat room again. Your chat room seems to be the place to be as you guys are printing on a regular basis. Saw that you were trading the SQQQ last week. Really substantial gains there. KRE puts. Awesome gains there as well. Anything else you can tell us about that trade or how that might go forward here?
Well, I mean, a lot of it had to do with what was going on. Well, first of all, we had this huge run of a rally of 11%, and the ITZ, that's the inverse ETF for the IWM or the Russell 2000. Russell 2000 had that 11% rally in just a few days. It was getting very overbought by many different readings, RSI, Bollinger Bands, whatever it might be. And then also we saw the same thing with the KRE, which is the regional banks are very heavily weighted in the Russell 2000. They were also getting very overbought. And so I thought that was a great play to make buy calls on the inverse ETF. That worked out extremely well. We bought puts on the KRE. That worked out well. The thing is that we now have the KRE bumping up against its 50-week moving average. That was incredibly key support for the KRE in 2023. It's been incredibly tough resistance this year. We're bumping up right against it. If we can break above, it's going to be positive. We break down. So we exited the trade. We're now flat on that one, and we're just going to see which way it goes. We'll let the KRE tell us which way it's going to go. My concern is it's going to be down. I'll probably re-enter those put trades, but I want to wait to see which way it's going to go at this key technical level.
Okay. For great analysis there. I'm with you there on that. And just kind of looking at this weekly chart here, just a masterful job of trading that. So really good stuff. Okay. 13, did you have anything here for Matt?
No, I don't. He's kind of already answering all my questions. So,
I took them all from you. I went first and took all your questions for you.
There you go.
Okay, Matt. There is one more stock that I want to ask you about before we get you out of here, and that's going to be Chipotle. This is going to be another one of the earnings trades that we're going to see here this week. Chipotle has really kind of come in post-split. It's coming down near its 200-day moving average. It almost tested that, although not quite. Even if you don't necessarily want to trade Chipotle for earnings, is this something that you're going to kind of watch to see how Chipotle reacts to those earnings?
That's going to be important. The one thing people do remember is one thing I always try to point out is that when you're, especially if you're trading options, and again, last week in the SQQQs, we sold them up 900%. Well, again, we bought a bunch and then we sold them at different levels, some up 400, some up 500, as much as 900%, because we saw that the group had gotten very overbought and was really ripe for any kind of negative news. And we got some negative news last week. However, when you come in and say, oh, geez, if this thing sees a big move after its earnings, it could see a 100% move or 200 or 300 or 400% move on its options. Got to be careful, because the options market makers always make those options more expensive right before a company reports, and that you can't blame them for that. They're not. I mean, they're taking a much bigger risk, because that's when you see a lot of volatility. So I guess my thing is, what I like about this, I look at the RSI chart; it's getting oversold. Bollinger Band's getting oversold, as you mentioned, Ryan. It's trying to hold that 200-day moving average. Whenever something gets oversold and is testing a support level at the same time, it usually bounces. So again, we don't know if they report lousy numbers, it's going to be a problem. But my kind of feeling is that unless they're really bad, I mean, as long as they're in line, this stock should bounce nicely on a sell the rumor, buy the news reaction, and of course, if it's good numbers, this thing's going to skyrocket. So if you want to you might want to just nibble a little bit here and wait for the actual earnings before you decide to add or exit the play. And when something gets, you see back in September, October 2023, it got incredibly oversold. I'm sorry, it got right down to its 200-day moving average. Yep. It held. If it and it being oversold again now, I think it's got a good chance it's going to hold again this time around. And the last time when it finally bounced off that level, it rallied in a big way. So it's hard to be making negative bets after the recent decline. And I just think a lot of the things they've done that have been very, very good over the last several years. So I tend to be feeling I want to be more bullish than bearish on this stuff.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Matt, we can't thank you enough. Awesome job in the chat room. Again, I know your members are absolutely loving the calls back there. Folks, if you want to check out more of Matt Malley, I went ahead and posted a link to the Universe stream that we do here. Matt, appreciate so much of your time here today. Appreciate it a lot. We're going to have a wild couple of months here going into the election. Yeah. We'll be sure to check.
Absolutely. No summer doldrums this year. That's for sure.
And actually, shout out to you, because I remember, I think at this point, it was about just over a month ago, I actually tuned into one of your evening webinars, and you said that to the group a month ago that, hey, I know it's the summer here, but we might not necessarily be looking at summer doldrums. Matt, when I heard that, I don't think there was any way I could have predicted what we've seen through now. Yeah. So another really good call there. Matt, thanks again for your time. We're going to keep checking in with you. Have a great rest of your week, all right?
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care. That is Matt Malley. Dude is absolutely awesome, super sharp. Like I said, if you want to get more of his analysis, be sure to check out those webinars. They're great. He's generous with us with his time, and we really appreciate that. All right, folks, let's get back to some of those movers. Boy, Serve, he just waited until I had to bring on a guest before it really ripped up to that high, took out all those pre-market highs, rejected here. But look at this. We came back in towards the VWAP, did not crack down. To me, until things change here, there is likely going to be another setup in this name here today. What did I miss here on Serve?
You missed the that breakout over 12. Well, I guess it did it twice. It came back in the first time when it broke out over 1250. The second time, that's when it finally took out the pre-market supply and broke through 13. Went up to 1389. Now it's coming back in looking for some support. The supply zone is now a demand zone, so we'll see if that holds up. Not liking the way the MACD looks at the moment, but I want to see if this can hold VWAP for now, and if it does, then I'll feel a bit more encouraged about trying to trade this. But don't try to force trades, folks.
Hey, wait out that weakness, buy that weakness, and sell into the strength. That has been a repeatable process that we have seen so far. We will wait that out here and Serve. By the way, I've got the VWAP here in Trade the Pool at 1193. In my Thinkorswim broker, I've got it at 1182. So right in that 10-cent range there, just under 12 on Serve. Okay, really good stuff here. Chat is doing it again.
SPY behaving mostly how I was hoping to see it. Didn't quite get to 555, but we did run up and got pretty close. Now, then it just turned around and went back down beneath that previous all-time high of 551.80. Now it's trying to recapture that. So this doesn't look too encouraging. This looks like it's just setting up to go lower. We'll see if that's the case. But so far, kind of trading between this previous all-time high and 555.
Okay. And you were giving us some more good levels here this morning. 13. It's like you know what you're doing or something. C-Max, by the way. I'm just trying to look, when you told me you didn't have enough sleep, I was like, oh, I'm going to make 13 as uncomfortable as possible with compliments here today. Try and turn that frown upside down, but it is doing it. C-Max here. This did pop to the high here. This was a masterful call by our chat here. This wasn't on my radar. 13. I don't think this was on your radar.
No.
Our chat called this right out of the open. You folks got to be ready. Got to be ready here. You never know when that setup is going to show up. You never know when that big trade is going to be possible. Looking over at Serve, it looks like we're starting that curling process back towards the high here. Jay looking at 12.92 as the potential price that needs to get broken in order for this to retest those highs. We'll see if Serve has the strength to do it. I want to hit this again here today. I'll be honest. I would like
one not coming in. MEIP came in a little bit.
MEIP on my screen here has broken the VWAP. It did come in and it looks like it's trying to get bought back up here, but we are beneath the VWAP.
Yeah, Serve looks like the only one that's really working out at the moment. I don't know how long this will last. Remember, we are getting closer to the lunch hour and volume will dry up. It looks like Mira is suspended again. To the downside.
This one to the downside. That is the fifth halt today here on Mira.
Well, what else are we looking at here?
Sentinel-1 right back to the VWAP here and holding it so far.
Yeah, I'm not in Serve anymore. That was fun while it lasted, but the volume is drying up a little bit here.
Crow says not touching Serve. Crow, looks like you're done with Serve at least for the time being here. CrowdStrike 267, so we are hunting for a bottom here on CrowdStrike.
What was that weekly? Okay, so it's through that now. Jeez. $240 is a pretty interesting level.
So I'll go back here in a sec. I did want to address Ken's comment here. Ken, good morning, by the way. Good to see you here today. VLCN strengthening to squeeze. So here's a look at VLCN. Now we did pop here right out of the open. It was on some volume, but it wasn't extraordinary. This stock is pretty beaten down, and it does look like it's kind of holding this bottom level. And to Ken's point here, I have a percent of float shorted at 56% here. Small short interest, small average volume, 1 day to cover. So it looks like this had recent splits or something that's kind of affecting with that.
Split twice this year already. A reverse split twice. It did once in February on the 5th and again in June on the 7th.
And so those splits there, one for 45 on that February 113, one for 100 on that most recent one.
And that's why you get the short interest days to cover to be what it is. With when it reduces the share count like that from the reverse split. Oh, they also regain compliance as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still a decent short interest there. And if this is really going to have to get rolling here, I think, Ken, we have a pretty huge range too. Like the 50-day moving average is above 11 here. So I think this is really going to have to do some damage before it really gets rolling here. Checking in on Serve. We're still holding up here. Looks like we're retesting 13 here.
It's doing it right now.
And through.
Yep.
A couple more stocks that you folks were looking at real quick. Sorry, I know I just ran you over twice there. I'm just trying to get through some of these real quick. This is one that we've been looking at. This pop and came back into the VWAP. We just reclaimed it. Smoke Tuna mentioning that this is setting up here. It's actually looking pretty good. Tony on this as well. Jay Wild, good to see you this morning, Jay. Does SLE run or knife? We shall see. So far here we popped. Now we are doing a really good job holding at the VWAP here. I want to see some of this volume pick back up here. It looks like we had just kind of a volume spike there on SLE. This one not on my radar here. Smoke Tuna proclaiming that serve is done for now.
Looks like so you were just looking at RR, right?
Yep.
Okay, so there's that one. I think Sentinel 1 was trying to turn around. The volume's pretty low though, so I don't know if it's going to be able to push through all these walls here. There's one at 24.48 that it's got to get through, and then after that it's 24.59. Looks like
that was Sentinel 1. Sorry.
No problem. Looks like NAAS is trying to recapture VWAP. Needs more volume.
Yeah, it does. That's actually been using VWAP as resistance here. Smita asking about Zap. That was a recent runner here. I don't really see anything going on here on Zap. We are on the backside of the move here. Volume is less than impressive. Down we go here.
Robert Carneal saying that Nike looks like it's going to take out the 74 to 73.94 level.
Nike, maybe we're finally bouncing here off that bottoming action on the daily. You guys, I guess, swinging Nike to the long side, Robert, or anyone else, really?
Wow, I just had a huge move just a moment ago.
Which, Nike?
Nike, yeah. Just kind of pushed right up on through 74 with a purpose.
74.02, your intraday high there on Nike. Robert, you are long some of this. Good luck on your trade, man. It sure looks like this is trying to bottom here. We get any type of push, you might be onto something there, my man. Geo also trading Nike. Okay. Based on the new ad they put out, which ad was that? Which ad are you referring to?
And what was it for?
Shoes, dude.
Well,
Sorry. I had to be a smartass. Look, I can't go the entire morning without being a smartass.
No problem. And excuse me, was it a particular brand shoe or was it apparel? Just kind of curious. It looks like Serve is trying to do capture 13 again.
Looks like C-Max. Crow and Tuna, you guys have been on C-Max all day here. That is pushing for the highs again. Let's check in on Serve here.
Yeah, trying to get back up to 13. Volume's not quite there. At least I don't think. It's going to have to really expand in order to push up and break through 1389. RR, that one's moving up as well. Above VWAP again. Mira is also open. You could draw a trend line with Mira from the intraday highs, or the peaks. That could be the breakout trend.
So I'm going to try to just do this while you're mentioning it. So right here through here, here's your trend line that we want to see break.
Yep.
Pretty clear direction there, 13.
Yep. Now, if we lose VWAP, probably not going to happen. Probably if we lose VWAP, I think we go down to 140.
Okay.
What you going to do, Serve?
I thought you were going to break out in the Bad Boy song there. I heard what you going to do, and I was like, here we go. 13's going to roll it right here.
Oh, no, I do not sing.
me either. Me either. I want you folks to be friends with me, and singing would be a quick way to not have that happen. I don't know what to tell you here. Did Sava continue? I know we saw that pop here earlier. Okay, so Sava's holding higher here, still holding above its VWAP. How did some of those tech names do? So it looks like they're pulling back a little bit. SMCI was the weakest. That actually continuing its weakness here. Apple holding its move higher here. How about Google or Alphabet? Looks like that's kind of holding higher here. None of these really making a bigger move, though. Jonathan, you taking a look at SLE? This was the Jay Wild mention from earlier. I still want to see some more volume here. In fact, let me see. On average, stock trades 61,000 shares today. It's traded about 500,000. This is also why I don't see it yet on my relative volume scanner. We haven't reached that threshold. This definitely needs a volume pop here.
That's kind of interesting. And you also had a insider buy. What is this? The CEO? No, it's a director. Bought 50,000 shares.
Yeah, and that was the 19th. That was Friday. At 111. Okay, interesting. Here's what 13 is talking about, by the way, courtesy of Benzinga Pro. He's using the insider tab here to take a look at that. As you can see, 719 recent buy here, 50,000 shares at $1.11. So not a whole lot in terms of total capital, but the him buying, good sign. SLE. Robert, I'm glad you're bringing up ASML. We actually took a look at that earlier here today. I know you've been trading that one recently here. AML looks like a good buy for me. So you're actually thinking that this kind of curls back up right after this move down here on ASML. Let me get a bigger chart here for us all to take a look at.
Looks like buyers came in to serve as soon as it hit 1250. See if there was enough of them to push it back up to 13.
So, Robert, here, you're not waiting for a test of the 200 and these lows from April. Interesting. You're taking a stab at it here. I guess we'll see what happens if we do end up reversing that. TSM is an interesting one to keep on watch. Okay, let me go back here to serve 13 because that one's been the mover all day. We got people still bullish on it. We got people saying that it might be over here for the day. Let's take a look and see what we can't figure out here.
Yeah, there's a bit of support at 1240. We lose that, then going to VWAP.
RR still holding above its VWAP here, not moving anymore, but still holding above. Back to serve. Robert does always have a watch list, and shout out to Robert. Robert's also been participating in our watch list and always has good comments and things to take a look at.
DJT dropped down to a level that I had down near 33.25 and reversed. Now it's back above VWAP.
Okay.
It's got to get above. It's got to get through this sideways consolidation, this supply zone from pre-market, and if it does, then I think we're going to see another test of 36.50.
Okay. Smita's asking me, Ryan, what is you called low volume for day trading? I think what you're asking me there is what is the parameter on my day trading scanner, the lower parameter. So what I'm looking for on those stocks is at least 600,000 shares. But also notice one of the things that I did there when we were talking about a stock that is moving here, one of the first things I did was check what that volume actually was, because even if it's under that threshold, if it's approaching it and it's showing other signs of momentum or some type of move coming up here, whether that's based on a key level or otherwise, that's worth noting here. So SLE, the parameter that I have is 600,000 as a minimum. Let me know if that's what you were asking. Dan Zimmerman mentioning Sava bull flag. Dan, it looks like that is trying to resolve to the upside as we speak here. This indeed, intraday on this 3-minute chart, looks like a bull flag here to me. Looks like it is trying to take the top end of that out. Sava strong here on this move. Sava up 28% here today.
They have news, or is this just...
Yeah, let me pull that here for you. I think we glanced over this earlier. I blame myself for that. Here, let's see. Cassava Sciences phase 3 trial expected to conclude by December of 24 with 804 patients. The second trial with 1,125 patients to end by June of 2025. Successful results could be revolutionary. So let's see. It looks like we summarized this as trading higher after the company announced its phase 3 trial is expected to conclude by December and second phase 3 trial by June 2025. So they're giving you a timeline there, and we would hope to see positive data out of those. So if you're trading or watching Sava, maybe add this to your trading journal or your notes. By the way, I don't think I've covered this enough on this show. Shout out. Shout out to our development team that has added a notes feature here right in Pro. So I'm going to say phase 3 trials conclude deck 24, and second phase 3 trial concludes June 25. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add that list. We're going to go ahead and add this to the main watch list as well. I don't think it's on there anymore. I think I took it off. Nope, it is still on there. Perfect.
CMAX breaking out. It looks like it's going to 482 and might, oh, wow, it just broke through that. It might turn around here, so be careful.
Here is CMAX on screen, as Picard would say. By the way, Serve rolled over to 12 there. Smoke Tuna and Crow saying this was dead not long ago. Serve rolling over. We'll take a look at that here next. Dan, thank you. I forgot to mention that when I was talking about Sava. Shame on me, Dan. I'm sorry about that. High short interest here. The reading that I have, courtesy of Benzinga Pro, that was current as of July 10th. 29% of its float shorted. Perhaps it did creep up a little bit there since then.
NKGN, did you just meant to talk about that?
NKGN?
Yeah, that one's.
This was a last week issue.
Yeah, it's trying to get above this. What is this, like 121 level? It looks like. It's been running into resistance there. But the volume's not great in this one, so I'm not sure. It's just getting mentioned in the chat, so just thought I'd take a look at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. NKGN was kind of a wild one last week. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some holdover from last week on some of those. Looking at my scanner here, kind of dried up, at least for right now. Mira's still on there, so I guess that's worth noting. That trend line still staying on there because clearly we've stayed under that trend line. Here's Serve. We're testing the VWAP as we speak. Looking around at some other stuff here as well. Okay.
Let's see what the SPY's doing. Looks like the SPY may have turned around. Yeah.
Want to take a look at SPY?
Well, I'm just looking at it. Got support from that 550-180 level. Moving up now. Don't know where. I mean, we're going sideways at the moment, so we'll see what happens. Nvidia
moving. Actually, Cade Father. This was a good call. We checked on Nvidia earlier. It had the spike right out of the open and move back down to VWAP. This does look like it's going for some of those highs. It's going to cause me to check some of the other tech names there. Boy, SMCI lower here. How's Tesla? Is that still holding up? And actually, Tesla's trying to make a move back down. Apple also might be giving up some of its gains here. How about Netflix?
You know, the Mag 7's green today.
Yep. But I wonder if they give that up here by the end of the day.
Maybe.
Serve broken through its VWAP, more downside here. It looks like it's trying for it anyway. Ooh, let's see. All right. One of my options traders that I follow on Twitter mentioning JMIA. I didn't catch these, or I didn't notice them. August 9th calls being bought. Let me check out the chain here real quick on JMIA. We needed Jay Rice here this morning. Maybe he's celebrating his trade on JMIA. Let's see, August 9th. That is only 18 days till expiry.
That's just after their earnings. They report earnings on the 6th.
Okay, well, you know what? 13. So I'm seeing here on the calls that the August 9th calls, there's volume in both the 17.5 and the 18 contract. I'm looking at Thinkorswim here. It is not saying that this is part of a spread, and it is detecting these 17.5 calls. August, interesting. These calls up 27% here today. Interesting there. JMIA, August 9th, 17.5 calls, getting some action, 6,555 rated here today. 13, thanks for the assist on that. That is interesting to me.
Timing looks good.
Timing looks good. Do we take some of these for a swing? Do we take an earnings play here for a swing? The calls are cheap.
That is,
you know what, guys? What the hell? What the hell? I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna take this. This is not gonna be in the prop account. Take a kind of a smaller position here for earnings. JMIA. Let's give it a shot. 70 cents per contract. You can pretty much arrange your risk any way that you see fit there. All right, so I'll let you know how this trade goes here. Playing this here for earnings. I am filled there. Okay, so we are long the August 9th, 17.5 calls on JMIA. We shall see if that ends up working out.
Saw Robert was mentioning Netflix. Looks like it's trying to break out of this the high that it put in intraday, which is at 649.73. So what does it want to break? 650? Could be.
Crow, Blue Horseshoe loves J. I think you meant JMIA there. But we'll see.
MIRA getting mentioned. Looks like that's going to try to break that downtrend line here. Just need a little bit more volume in this in order to break through that.
Let's take a look at Mira here.
Yeah. Check the IV.
I think he means on those JMIA calls. And the IV is above 100% there. Crowd at VWAP. We were taking a look at CrowdStrike. So this did bounce a little bit. It's at VWAP. Be interesting to see if we can move through that. All right, Nate, let's see. I'm in small. So if the position goes to zero, I won't really sweat it, especially after last week. Basically using profits gathered last week or booked last week and taking a portion of that and rolling it into an earnings play. Keep in mind, binary events like this, traditionally higher risk, so factor that in. But yeah, last earnings play was pretty good. AEHR, that was pretty good. 100. Where is AEHR, by the way, after that? I wonder if that continued to run. Those calls expired. No, that was traded almost perfectly. I guess I could have got a little bit more on those contracts, but man, I was out near the highs anyway.
Serve trying to come back. It's currently at 12.
Reddit near the highs here. So let me go back to Serve. So here's the bounce, the reclaim of VWAP. Awesome.
Oh, who's Mira?
I'm sorry.
And then look at Mira.
And then here's Mira, right up to that 13.
I mean, a little bit more volume. I mean, I think we're going to need to see a big old push in volume to break through too, because that's where all the big orders are. So we start to see this really pile in like they're trying to do right now. It'll take it out, but it's got to be enough to push through all that, all those sell orders.
It went right there and stopped, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Be
awesome.
like that.
It do be like that. You'll love it. You'll love it.
Sava pushed up to new intraday highs, 1379. MEIP also curling a bit too. Volume needs to be better.
Scott mentioning ONDS. I'm actually, one of the things that I've noticed here on this one is that sometimes they'll PR some of these, new technology that they're using or a new contract, even with terms not disclosed. It'll pop and then it'll drop. I'll be honest, I know it's early here today. Let's see where we finish up. But the fact that this is holding anything higher here is encouraging. Looking for that $1 holla. Let's see if we can get above that and maybe get some juice going. NKGN getting mentioned by the chat here. Ooh, smoke tuna. Here we go. So NKGN from last week curling up here.
There's the volume we were looking for. The high from Friday was 128. Looks like it has a date with that number.
Sun Power Corporation, Jay saying red to green here. Crow saying this move here was wild. Indeed here, SPWR. This is just a penny stock here. Looks like we dipped out of the gate. Pretty substantial bounce here. Volume looks decent, SPWR.
Yeah, Serve still trying to push. It's a little bit further into the 12 handle now. Seems like it's getting a bit of resistance around 12.25.
I'm going to leave serve on screen here and step away for 1 sec, 13. Is that going to be all right?
Oh, all right. What else are we looking at, folks? We got NKGN, we got serve. What else is looking good? What else are you trading? Easy Mike saying BITI push. I saw that some big gainers in the Mag 7s, they were leaving those to go into some of the Bitcoin ETFs. Anybody else hear that? Let me know if you heard that. Looks like MEIP got a little bit of pushback at 375. Hasn't broken down yet. CMAX still above VWAP. Sava kind of sideways at the moment. Me in charge. Yeah. I have no control over this. I'm just on the screen. This one, MEIP, worth watching. Bring that up here. You think it's going to try to take out 375 again and go over 381, the intraday high? Let's see.
Is that Mira?
That's Mira.
Or Meep?
Looks like Serve is running out of steam here.
Serve still right at that VWAP.
Yeah, it got over it. Well, for me, it got over that a little bit, and it's having trouble staying above it. Anything BTC related? I mean, what is BTC doing now? Are they back to 60? Okay, so they're trying to get recapture 67,000. They've broken down beneath it.
Yeah, I have the futures at 67,155. Okay, Stock Pigeon mentioning Serve VWAP fail under 12 short setting for a flush. So it looks like you're trying to play this here for a flush down on Serve. Okay. That's what makes a market. Easy Mike was in here professing wisdom earlier. NKGN still at the top end of that pop there.
Let's see here. MEIP, looks like that's about to do a thing.
Let's see if we can rock it here. Crow says, Serve, you're asking for trouble in my opinion, but who knows, it might go. That is what Easy Mike was kind of mentioning earlier. That is what makes a market. Place your bets, folks. And that's also, you know, you're highlighting a key point there, which is why we talk so much about having a plan in case it doesn't work out. If you're going to trade high risk things, you got to factor that into the risk profile, right? Got to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to succeed. And if your thesis or plan doesn't work out, got to be able to recover from that in one way or another.
Yeah, volume's really drying up in Serve. MACD isn't looking too great. It could come back later, but remember, this would be later on the day after the lunch hour when some of these will come back.
Let's see if we get the Stock Pigeon 12 flush move here. That would be a monster call. I got a register ring waiting for you, dude.
MEIP, that broke out to 394. That was a good one. Nice little pop there.
There you go on MEIP. FLYE is on the scanner here, but really kind of low volume there.
Looks like CMAX is about to be next. So
that came back into VWAP here. Maybe a VWAP bounce play. Starting
to see some volume expand here. They just brought in a big old bunch of sell orders between 435 and 450. Oh, they just took that out. Here we go. Could get more going on here on CMAX.
450's got, yep. We said it. We saw it at the same time. 13. I love it. Let's go. Let's see here on that 450. Pulling off that spot. We'll see if we go back there. Stay focused. Good morning, man. I hope you're doing well. Actually, I think you already said something here, and I might have already said good morning to you, but good morning again, nonetheless. Ryan, is that a cup forming on the SPY on the 1 minute? Let's take a look here. Let me bring up SPY. This is your 3 minute chart here. Let me go ahead and pop a 1 minute chart up here. So here you go. So this is looking like the cup. So maybe we get a move back down to VWAP here, stay focused, and then a go. What say you there?
Could be. Let's see how much of a handle we get here. Short handle, long handle. I'd say probably if we're going to get a short handle, it's going to come down to about 53.40. So we'll see if that's what we get.
Here is the 1 minute chart that Stay Focused was referencing, but for record, I am actually going to switch back to the 3 minute chart here. The chart, the intraday chart that you normally see on Pro when I flip over to that is a 1 minute chart. So if we need to do that, we will. SPY here looking like it's going to try and test those highs.
Now, if it breaks out here, it should go to 555.
Nate, 11 puts on para from Friday, working out and nice. That's that whole Paramount debacle. That's something I have stayed out of here. You know what, though, Nate? Good stuff here, because looking at the daily chart, this does look like this is trying to roll over. Maybe if we pierce this 20-day moving average on the daily, lower we go here on Paramount. For your short trade here, love to see this under this 1140 area. Looking pretty good here on Paramount. Okay.
Serve still battling with $12.
I'm going to put that on screen here.
MEIP went all the way up to 4. What a move in MEIP. That was great.
Here we go. Serve moving away from the VWAP to the downside here. I'll tell you what, though, it's going to, I should probably stop saying that, right? Because every time that I say we move away, is spreads out, gets bought right back up to that 12 area that you have mentioned a number of times. So we'll see if we get a pronounced move away from this level.
And no problem, stay focused.
ONDS, big volume pop there. I'm seeing it on my relative volume scanner. Not used to this, folks. Not used to this. But I will take it. What ended up happening with CMAX there? Okay, so we didn't. It looks like we did pop. Now we're kind of coming back into the VWAP. Okay.
It seems like the move still hasn't happened yet. And I'm not sure if it will, but it could, but we'll have to see if it holds VWAP.
Okay.
All right. Well,
how did tech keep going?
Looks like AMIX still is trying to curl now.
Okay.
MEIP.
See if we get back to VWAP. MEIP is above 4 there.
Mm-hmm. And NAAS still hasn't broken down. Volume is still not great, but the longer we go sideways here, I'm thinking that we're going to eventually get one of these VWAP tests that'll result in a breakout. As long as we keep holding up here. If we break down, then maybe not.
One thing to keep in mind here on MEIP, looking at my daily chart here, we are about a little over halfway towards that 200-day. I have that 200-day at 462 on MEIP, and it's currently flirting with that $4 level. We get above that with some juice here. Maybe MEIP can run to that 200-day at 462.
Well, it looks like you're getting that handle started on the SPY 1 minute.
Let me bring that up again. Oops, there we go. Boom. Here you go. So you want to see this come back in. Now, is the VWAP a good level for that handle to come back into 13?
I'm sorry, what was that? I was looking
I'm just looking at the SPY 1 minute chart here with the cup and handle formation that Stay Focused brought up. And it does look like now we're trying to kind of make a move down here. Do you think a move down towards that 553 area would complete the handle, or is there another level, or you're not even looking at a number level there?
I'm I'd say 553.50 would be a good first stop. So we'll see. Looks like CMAX breaking down.
Starting to fade here a little bit. Is it losing that
Yep.
juice? Yeah, it looks like it.
Mira back on the move. It looks like it's on the move to the VWAP.
But look at that trend line. Still, dude, just money. Draw more of those intraday trend lines. Amanda and Robert, looks like you guys are banking here on Netflix, ticker NFLX. That's continuing to move here. Let me take a look at a bigger chart here on Netflix. Let's chart that one. I know you guys have been talking about that one a lot here today. I don't think we've shown Netflix enough love.
AMIX went right to VWAP. It's getting resistance there. There's a big, wall of sell orders at 160. It's got to get through. Don't know that it will.
Testing right up here at VWAP. Real quickly, let's take a look at that Netflix chart here. So here you go. Let's see if you guys gave some stuff here on the trades. I know you did. I'm having a tough time finding it. So yeah, I got killed by the Netflix post-earnings IV crutch. It killed all the premiums on an incredibly wacky way. Yeah, the Netflix option sellers seem to have won that last print there. You had a 645 strangle, Robert. Got it. Stock Pigeon looking like he's going to increase his short exposure to serve under 1150. Let me bring that back up on screen here. 13, did you have anything on Netflix technicals here? I didn't ask you for it.
No,
but
I'm just watching CMAX turn around here.
We can always come back to it too.
Sorry, I'll take a look at Netflix.
Yeah, all good. All good. Here's serve, by the way. This does look like this is kind of weakening away from the VWAP. Here's CMAX, what you were looking at.
Yeah, CMAX got some support from the VWAP. That looks like it's going to try to turn around and go for 5 again.
Yep. CMAX not done, Crow says. Robert mentioning, man, so many earnings coming up. That is my cue. Here is your earnings graphic for the week. Again, we are going to be taking a look at this quite a bit here. Going to have a big day starting tomorrow, even in the morning. GEGM, Spotify, and UPS and Coke in the morning.
We go with CMAX. Come on now.
Oh, we got that southern soul coming out from the Texas voice coming out from 13. You know he means business in that case.
Oh, geez. Mira, this might be the move. Maybe this is the one that takes it through the trend line. Cycling through. Yeah, serve definitely looks like it's going lower. Maybe it goes under 10 and gets bought up. We'll see.
Stock Pigeon might have had that trade flagged there. And by the way, Stock Pigeon, so looking for a short on a huge mover like this, the other thing that is worth mentioning here, extremely good patience kind of waiting this out. We've already seen a couple of spikes. You could have looked at that first spike out of the open and then the move through VWAP and said, hey, this thing's done here. We got a big impulse move to new highs here, and now we're kind of waiting for the breakdown. We did hit that 1150 spot there, Stock Pigeon. So really, really great patience. Appreciate you laying this trade out for the group in real time. Absolutely love seeing that. Here we go. Serve, moving to the lows.
Yeah, I'd be waiting for this thing to go under 10. I don't think NKGN might be done. It's very thin, but it's putting in some moves. I'd still like to see Mira break that downtrend. That'd be cool. Now, if it doesn't break that downtrend and we lose a VWAP, don't know if we'll see it. We got to break that downtrend today.
Bryce, real quickly. Bryce, why is HE falling so hard? It went from 13 to 19 and now back to 13. It's at 13.98, so just about 14. This is the stock that has $4 billion in legal for Hawaiian Electric. So you're looking at ticker HE here. Let me bring this up here real quick. I know we talked about this last week. We had some news last week that really kind of popped this, Bryce. Let's take a look at it here today. First of all, here's your chart. You can see that move that Bryce is talking about all the way up towards just over 18. Pull back here. We'll see what happens when we get to the 200-day. As far as the news goes here, I got nothing new here. So it looks like this is just kind of a pullback off that news from last week, down 20% here, though. Help Bryce out here, folks. For any of you that are kind of following this HE saga, I don't see any news here. Pretty big pullback.
So it says here from Friday that they reached a settlement plan over the Maui fires. Do we have any details on that? Because there might be something that was found out that's leading to this downside.
If there was, I don't have them. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, 13. I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, thank you, Crow, MIRA. Looks like they were trying to get a little bit more of a push here. And this thing just does not get going. It looks like it starts to, and then it just, the sellers just come in and say, not yet.
It runs up into that trend line, and it's like, nope.
Would be nice if it did that, though. Okay, so serve, that one's now looking for support from 11. It got it once.
Mira at that trend line. CMAX maybe trying to curl. Let me go to serve here for you, 13. Stock Pigeon, the only other question that I have here, you had mentioned, yeah, you have to really sit on your hands. That's one of the reasons I was highlighting how impressive that waiting was here this morning. You're just not phased by the momentum and waiting for your plan to set up. That deserves a mention here.
Mira.
Okay,
the order's taken out. Sorry.
All good. Stock Pigeon. The only other follow-up question I have is: are you paying yourself on this move down here? Here is Mira. We are right at that trend line, 13.
Yeah. I think we might. Well, we're going to test it for sure, but breakthrough. That's what we're hoping for. It needs to get over $2. Sorry. Easy
Mike saying we kind of pegged HE with insurance, especially with energy down. Okay, so you're thinking maybe that move down is exaggerated by energy also being down. Around here, Tesla. Orderly move back in. No, I've not covered any yet. Okay.
CMAX sideways. As long as it's above VWAP, that's interesting. Sorry.
No, all good. Mira did break above that trend line. Let me actually zoom in so this is a little bit easier to see those actual levels. That candle did close above that. That was a 3-minute candle. Next one here is regression back to the mean, but it's right back down to the trend line. So let's see if we actually use that as support after now taking it out as resistance.
Mm-hmm. That's what we want to see. Okay. Sorry, I was just speaking out loud reading.
You don't have to be sorry.
All right, now serve just traded beneath 11. I feel like that's gonna, we're gonna see 11 fall here and we'll stay underneath it for a little bit. Really think that this may end up coming down to around 950. We'll see what happens down there. Pre-market low, if we're not including the open at 4 a.m., that would be 880.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like AMIX still looking pretty good. Like it wants to take out VWAP. Just needs some more volume, and there's a wall at 160. All right.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Amanda bringing up Microsoft. This is interesting given the stuff there on CrowdStrike from Friday. So Amanda here, my biggest surprise of the day is the upside move in Microsoft after getting beat up for a week and then the CrowdStrike thing. So the being beat up from a week, beat up for a week, taking that separately from the CrowdStrike ordeal there. Maybe just kind of like a break, maybe a regression back to the mean here. Now, as far as the CrowdStrike angle on that, I think we very quickly learned over Friday that it wasn't really a Microsoft issue, although it was affecting Windows computers. It was clearly a CrowdStrike issue.
Yeah.
So I think that that's probably why you're seeing some of that maybe trade back here into Microsoft. Now, looking at the daily chart here, Microsoft, nice little bounce at that 50-day moving average. Maybe let me know if anyone's interested in here in a swing position on Microsoft, given that. I'd be curious on the group's thoughts.
You know what was interesting about that? You hear the news about Southwest still being able to carry on with their business even after that situation happened because they're running on Windows 3.1 and 95.
Yeah, interesting that Windows 3.1 and 95 is a flex, but here we are. You know, the one thing to keep in mind about Southwest, I know there are a lot of Southwest fans out there, and I get it. I mean, I used to fly Southwest too. There was not long ago, I'd actually have to look up the dates for you, but not long ago, there was a incident where Southwest flights were grounded for a period of time, and it was only Southwest. So every one of these airline companies, if they don't all get affected by one thing, there will be something out there that will adversely affect them. Amanda, you got long swings set up in Microsoft and Dell. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, the Microsoft setup that you're in right now looks pretty good. Let's take a look here at Dell. I'm actually going to bring a bigger chart up here on Dell real quick. I know we're running out of time. This will probably be it here for the day. 13, I will go to you for some closing comments. So I'm not going to babble too much here. But oops, here we go. So here is Dell. Let's get that daily. Oh, come on. Don't go flip back to Hawaiian Electric. That's not what we need right now. So here is Dell. Watch for maybe a potential reclaim here of this 100-day. Could actually fill the gap up to 134 there. We're at the bottom end of this big volume shelf. So if we're going to turn around here, this might be pretty decent too. And to keep us posted on that, I think I like both of these swing setups. Okay, that's going to do it here for today. Let me go ahead. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything here real quick.
It's going to be a volatile week. Got volatile couple of weeks.
Yeah, it is going to be a volatile week. So that's going to be it here for today, folks. Gotta say, given the news and what took place this weekend, once again, I'm not surprised to see our community just absolutely crushing it here today. Really great stuff from you folks. As 13 just said, we are going to have some thought. What happened, 13?
Just looking at Mira. It's doing the thing. Let's take out 2. Come on, Mira. Let's go.
Here, I'll go back to it here real quick since it's happening live. But we got to get rolling here. It did. So here we go.
Give us 2, and then we be through.
Oh, see, you are coming up with songs and rhymes here. How about that? Okay, folks. We really do have to run here. 13, thanks very much. You folks, stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Looking at you, stay focused. Have a good one, and we will see you tomorrow.